Hello there, you're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Sean Tormey. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We will also be doing another edition of Episode Roulette, so stay tuned to hear which words we had to scour the streaming sites for and which surprising shows we ended up with this time.
Going over the box office numbers from May 31st to June 2nd, my prediction was correct. Garfield has surpassed Furiosa as the number one movie of the weekend. Coming in first place, Garfield movie made $14 million. And right after that was, of course, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, with $10 million. That is a 59, almost 60% drop for Furiosa, which is very, very sad to see that the Mad Max Saga cannot continue on so effortlessly. I mean, we knew that it wasn't going to do great. I just was hoping it would do better than this, but apparently word of mouth hasn't caught on. The people who did like it and the people who haven't liked it, of course, aren't spreading anything, and most people just don't want to see it, I guess, or don't know what it is, which is very disappointing. In third was John Krasinski's If, with 10.5 million, just slightly below Furiosa. Furiosa beat it by $200,000, which is an incredibly tight race between the two of them. So they pretty much tied for second. In fourth was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes with 8.9 million. Fifth was The Fall Guy with 4 million. The Strangers Chapter 1 in sixth with 3.7 million. In seventh was Haikyuu, The Dumpster Battle, a new release with 3.6 million. Eight was In a Violent Nature with 2.1 million. Ninth was Ezra with 1.2 million. And 10th was Summer Camp with 1 million. Those last four were all new releases. They came in below all the movies that came out weeks before, so nothing new, nothing big hitting this weekend, unfortunately. And now our box office predictions for June 7th to the 9th. Two big releases coming out this weekend. Bad Boys, Ride or Die, the fourth in the installment. I believe it's the fourth. Whatever. It is slated to make somewhere between 50 and 75 million. I don't think it's going to get near 75. That seems like a crazy number. So I'm going to say around 50 million. And then the other big release is The Watchers, which is, of course, a horror movie. And there's not much out there for horror. I think it could do good numbers. I'm going to say 10 million, maybe 12, 13, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Other than that, Garfield should be doing good. If should be doing good in terms of owning sort of the family market that's going on right now. Everything else is sort of just floating around, making whatever money it can get. Nothing too big coming out except for Bad Boys.
All right, so we're on the hunt for 3 words, although we already have one from last time. You're covering your mouth as you're going through the generator right now, just picking
I was
through.
just clicking and it said you've been through every word, and I was like, "What?"
Is that
But
true?
it,
You
it
went
was
through
it
all
was
the.
it
Oh,
was
it's
just
not true.
telling me I was
Okay.
clicking too fast.
That's funny.
That's
So
funny.
you got the generator pulled up. You ready to start flipping
Yes.
through them? I'll say stop, and then whatever word it is, we'll keep
Did you
ourselves honest.
say?
We'll be like, that's the one. We got to go with it. So we'll
Yeah.
do that
Did you say we're already using a word from last time
twice.
though?
But yes, we are using a word from last time. If you remember, it was for the ship, the wreckage, the whichever one was the murder mystery on the ship.
I love how we forgot what it was called.
We did, yeah. Shows how
Wasn't it like
much
the
it
coast or something? It was like a weird name with like not coast, but it was something like that. But it was duck or something.
Yes. So that's the word we will be using because it was water was a word for that one. And then the episode title was Water Off a Duck's Back or
Oh
something along those lines.
yeah.
And
What a mid
so
show.
yeah. And so we were like, that's got to be one. So we'll recycle that just because it was an odd word from the episode title. So duck will be one of the words that an
Whack.
episode title needs to have in
Mm-hmm.
order for
Mm-hmm.
us to use it. But then we're gonna pick the other two right now. We're gonna see what our selections are, and then we're gonna go off and find these episodes to
Mhm.
watch.
Mhm,
All right,
mhm,
so
mhm.
Sean, you are clicking through the generator
Oh yeah, I haven't stopped
at
since
mock
we
speed.
started.
All right. So we're gonna have the first word come up in just a second. Let's stop.
It
What
says
did it land
title.
on?
It says title.
Title?
Yeah, like
Interesting.
title.
So we need an episode title that has title in the title.
Dan, no, Dan. Hold on. Episode title has title in the title.
Yes. All right.
I
So
wonder if we'll find some.
so we'll lock that in. So we got duck title. All right. Now we're looking for the third word. By the way, shout out to Game Gal. That is the generator we're using right now. If you want to ever find words for Pictionary or charades or something,
Or literally anything,
you
any
can
kind
go
of
through it.
guessing game.
Are you on the really hard
Yeah, of
level? Okay,
course
yeah.
I am.
Yeah, there's like
I just got
easy.
hieroglyphics as a word.
Jesus. All right. Then let's find out what the next word is. Stop.
Time zone. It was 2 words. That says time zone.
Time zone. Okay.
Do we want like a backup word in case we don't find anything for any of these?
Sure. Let's go to change it to easy. And then
Okay.
we're gonna
Okay.
find another word that hopefully if
So
it's
we
easy for
have
Pictionary, it'll be easy
we
for
have
episode
but we
titles.
have our three.
Episode
This is just
roulette.
in case we don't find anything.
Exactly. So let's find that next selection now. Stop.
Ring.
Ring.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So we have duck, title, time zone, and then ring as our backup in case we can't
Yep.
find anything with time zone.
I'm going now. I'm starting. This is gonna be
Starting
hard.
the search begins. Okay, we are back from our episode hunting. It took us many places we did not expect. We had to use our backup. So time zone is out, ring is in. That was what we
Just
used as
literally, yeah.
the third episode title. Um, so for the word duck, we have one Looney Tunes episode,
Yeah, whatever.
which is season 13, episode 5, What Makes Daffy Duck? So
It's a
one
biased
day,
pick.
Sean, we'll be able to get lunatics. I learned during
No.
the search that he's a big
Yeah.
fan of lunatics. So if we had, well, there was an episode, Caped Duck, right? Caper
Yes,
Duck.
or like Cape Ducks, yeah, something like that.
So
But
there
we
was
don't
a
feel like we don't feel
chance.
like spending money right now, so I kind of agree too. There's no
But
point.
yeah, it's only available for like $3 a pop each episode on Prime. So we're like, well, we'll kick that down the road and we will have a different Looney Tunes Daffy Duck episode represented. What makes Daffy Duck? But it's a short episode, right? Probably only 12 minutes. So we stacked another animated episode on there.
Hmm.
Bat Wheels season 1, episode 2.
I'm already
Stop
calling it.
that ducky.
That's gonna be the worst one. I'm calling it.
Well, I'm telling you, it's definitely like a preschool type audience is getting served with that one, but we'll watch it and we will give our honest opinions as approaching mid-20s men. Oh my God. That's
Don't.
crazy.
Why are you reminding both of us?
Yeah, that's that's upsetting. That's very upsetting. Oh my
Damn,
God. You know it's
it's
really
not that
upsetting.
sad.
Well, hold on. Let me put this in perspective. Lunatics, the show you're bringing up, Lunatics
Oh,
Unleashed, came out
stop.
in 2005, which you
God,
said, I'm so old, which, yes, I agree with that.
brother,
But
it's
Lunatics
2024.
is about to be 20 years old. That's crazy.
I didn't even register
Lunatics.
that in my head. You're annoying.
So next year, the 20th anniversary, we'll do an episode on it just for
You
you.
know what? I can wait. I'm down.
Um,
Lunatics
all right.
Unleashed.
Then we had title, and we found it was a bit difficult to come up with or to find titles of
The
episodes that have the word
title.
title in them. But you had a workaround that I thought was pretty clever. So what was the route that we ended up going with this word?
Well, I found a show that just sounded and looked interesting that A, we both never heard of, and B, it had the title of the show as an episode name. It's called Ragnarok. It's on Netflix. It's season 3, episode 6, and the episode is called Ragnarok. So I was like, I mean, that's the title. So we're gonna
Very
make that
true.
as a workaround.
So
See if it's
yes,
good.
so we fit that in. I think is a pretty good workaround. So the title of the show is the title of the episode. Then it can count for the word title. So that's what we did. So Ragnarok is our choice, the series finale of Ragnarok,
We
where hopefully a
there's
lot
gonna
of
be a
Ragnarok
theme.
shenanigans happen. It
Every
is a
time there's
theme.
gonna be a
Yeah,
theme. We're at least every time we do this, we have to have one season or series finale. We have to watch.
exactly. So we'll
Well,
miss
it's been the drama
everything in the
too.
build-up, but we will see the
They're gonna have
Ragnarok
accents hopefully
take
too.
place.
Let's
You're
go.
right. Oh my God. They're gonna be Nordic.
Don't touch the
That's awesome.
Ragnarok. Oh wait, you said Nordic.
It'd be hilarious though if it was just a bunch of Scottish and Welsh and
Oh,
British.
don't touch the Ragnarok laddie. Come on, get out of there. That'd be funny.
So Ragnarok is our next choice there. And then our final choice, so time zone. Once again, we're having issues trying to find that. Again, it's really just the streaming services need to get on HBO Max's level. Only Hulu does it with the episodes where you can like
Hey, we
search
found
through.
Netflix for once. We did
We did,
Netflix.
but that was just you looking at the episode or a show that seemed cool, and then it
Yeah,
happened to
and
have it
it
in there.
technically didn't have the word title in it either,
So
so it didn't really technically work.
yeah, so hopefully, other services will do that. But time zone, we're having difficulties. So our backup that we already had in the tank, Ring, we decided to go with that. And on I believe Hulu, yeah, we had MASH season 1, episode 16, titled The Ring Banger. Quite an episode. We will see what is in
It's a
store for
banger or
us
not?
there. But well, I've heard of MASH. It's definitely like
Yeah, I have to.
long ago a huge sensation. I think the finale of it, the series finale, is still like the biggest broadcast like of a
And
fictional television show of all time.
they've never seen how
So
bad Game of Thrones was then. Jesus.
true. So it was huge, but I've never seen it. Sean
Same.
has never seen it, so we're like, okay, this will be an interesting choice to have. And yeah, we have three different streaming
Four.
services.
Oh, three, sir. I think say four different
Yeah, so
shows.
four shows, but three services. So on HBO Max, we have Looney Tunes and
Sure.
Bat Wheels. Netflix, we have Ragnarok.
Stop saying Bat Wheels, please.
What? It's titled
It
Bat Wheels.
just sounds so goofy. Keep going. Sounds goofy.
And then we got the Hulu getting represented with MASH,
Ash.
which I think last time HBO Max was definitely on there. Peacock was on there. So Wrecked.
Peacock wasn't on there.
Yeah,
Was it?
Wrecked was
Rex
Peacock,
was,
I
no, Rex
think.
was Hulu. Rex was Hulu.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
maybe
then
it was.
that comedic show we liked a lot was on we
It
had
was
the
HBO.
Scooby Doo show and we had the comedic show that we really liked. That was a great episode, by the way. They were both on Max, and then we found Rec on Hulu. So now we have three services instead of two.
Gosh, all right. So there we go. And we haven't seen these episodes yet. We will watch them this next week, and then next
Drinks
week
on
we will
you.
record the other portion of this podcast where we talk about our reactions to them. Let's call our shot now of which episode you think you're gonna like the most.
It has to be the Ring Banger. I don't know why that title just sounds like. I mean, also just because it's slightly like not biased, I guess, but like I've heard of MASH.
Yeah,
And the thing is with the two um cartoons is I know Looney Tunes will be good and I know Bad Wheels will be awful. So like they already weigh each other out. Ragnarok is the wild card.
for
And
sure.
it's gonna be like Wreck where like it's our wild card pick, but it's the last episode. So it's gonna be hard to really give it a good rating. But we'll see the performances. That was the problem with the last with Wreck with the performances, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If it follows the same pattern as Wrecked, it'll definitely be the most interesting conversation, but it might not be the best episode
that'd be
of the
fun.
bunch.
Well, that's my
Um,
here question for you then. Do you think Ragnarok will be better than Wreck?
I do think so. Yeah.
Okay, okay. You
Based
make
on
it
it
seem like
having
there's not a lot of like
Yeah,
there's no
Rick wasn't
bar.
great. Based on it having three seasons,
I mean,
I
but
think
it's
it will be
Netflix.
better.
But it's Netflix though
It
too.
that's true, but to get multiple seasons on Netflix, that is an
When
accomplishment.
did
So,
while you're answering your other question, I'm gonna look up when Ragnarok came out.
2020 to 2023. answered it for you, buddy. There you go. Fact check me
Okay,
right now.
fine. Answer
Confirm it.
your own question while I do that.
Okay, so I also think ring banger.
Ring bearer.
Yeah, it's got to be a play on that, I'm imagining. But yeah, the MASH episode just based on the prestige, I don't know prestige, but the respect, the popularity that MASH has in the TV landscape. I mean, it had to get there for a reason, right? So I'm expecting it to be a solid episode.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, by the way, all of the names in Ragnarok are Norse too. Like all the actors are Norse.
But that's what I'm
So
saying. So there we
that'd be
go.
fun. And it does say 2023. I don't see where it says 2022 though, so you might be wrong. So just saying. Just thought I'd share. You know. Don't you look it up. Get off your phone. Oh, the
Hey,
Ring Banger is only 25 minutes.
yeah, that's what I said.
Oh.
It's like the short
I
comedic
don't know
episode.
why. I don't know why I assumed it was like a lot longer, but that's fine. Okay. I mean, if it's good, it's good. Oh, you know what? It's Hulu. For me, it'll be 30 minutes. We're good. We're chilling.
True.
I have ads on Hulu and
Those
it
ads,
sucks. It
baby.
sucks. It's where I watch it's where I watch Hell's Kitchen and The Bear, and I have to watch it with ads. It sucks.
But yeah, so all right, those are our selections on this episode roulette. So we will see which ones are the diamonds in the rough and which one should have stayed buried. Okay, so now it is a week later. We have watched the shows, each of the episodes that we chose. But before we dive into all that, I just want to do another sort of look back on the first episode roulette, where it all started, where we had three words: brain, branch, and water. And the shows that came along with that for brain was Velma,
Oh,
the brains of the operation. John is still scarred by that. We had Branch, which gave us Miracle Workers, season 3, episode 4, Oregon Trail, what happens in Branch Water. And then we definitely did some I don't know, shenanigans with that of like Branch Water, how that ended up with the third word water, which was Wreck, season 1, episode 6, Water off a duck's back. So those were the three that we had in the first episode roulette. Quite an interesting collection. And of course, in this one, we have 4 shows instead of just 3.
I wonder why.
And we had in Duck, we had 2 shows. Again, the Looney Tunes Bat Wheels with title. Again, we did some shenanigans with that to get Ragnarok. And then Time Zone was the word that we initially were going for, but that didn't work out. So our backup ring gave us MASH with the ring banger. So let's just dive into it without further ado. The first word, duck, with 2 shows, Looney Tunes and Bat Wheels. We'll talk about Looney Tunes first.
Thank God.
Sean, what was it like watching what uh what is the episode title? What happens to Daffy Duck? What was it? What makes
You
Daffy
don't
Duck?
remember what
That's
it
the
was
one.
called? Yeah.
No.
I was about to say something like "What Makes Daffy Duck" or something
Yeah,
dumb
What
like
Makes
that.
Daffy Duck, season 13, episode 5. This came out in 1948. So a little
Damn.
bit before our time, just slightly. Uh, so what did you think of it?
Oh, I loved it, man. That's nostalgia for me. I used to watch Looney Tunes growing up all the time. That's what my parents watched growing up too. Like my dad, big Looney Tunes slash Tom and Jerry watcher when he was a kid. So, God, I loved it. That was I was okay with that choice, Ryan. The other one, I don't know. But this one was great. You know what's funny though is I Daffy Duck wasn't really like my favorite Looney Tune that makes any sense. Like, you know, like each Looney Tunes, like they pretty much are like, depending on which character it's about, it's decently the same kind of episode you're gonna get, just different scenarios or premises slightly.
Hmm.
I was always more of a Bugs Bunny kid growing up. Like I loved Bugs Bunny, and I also loved all the Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote stuff. Those
Yeah,
two were like always the ones I
classic.
loved. I never really liked Daffy Duck, but this kind of episode I liked. This one was really
Hmm.
good. It was just fun. It was funny. Good 8 minute 8-minute watch too.
Again, yeah, like I said, just nice, easy, breezy, very quick. There's something to that too about the like those old-fashioned cartoons that just have a cat and mouse chase basically. Like
Mm-hmm.
we see that with, I mean, the whole Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner thing. You see it with this too, whenever, Daffy
Mm-hmm.
Duck is getting hunted by Elmer Fudd and a fox. And then Tom and Jerry, of course, is literally the
Actual
cat and
cat and
mouse chase
mouse. Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah,
So
literally.
I don't know, there's something about that of just a simple premise of one character trying
It's
to chase
that
another character, and then they get in all these hijinks along the way.
yeah, it's like
So,
that dumb it's like that dumb comedy kind of thing. It's like to us it's just like nostalgic, but I feel like if anyone who never like heard of it watched it, it's kind of like what am I watching? But like a kid, it's just like that's just funny, especially to a kid. 'Cause it's just them like chasing and hurting each other, like small little bits and pieces in there.
hmm
Like
but I
it's
mean,
great.
yeah, it's accessible to anyone. Like it's those same thing with old silent comedies that are really good. They don't age because it's
Yeah.
just physical gags, right? And that doesn't really go out of date. It's not like you're making topical references. So the comedy is like how effective it is based on how well you can carry
Hmm.
out those physical gags. And so all these old cartoons, I mean, most of it holds up well because it's just yeah, that chase and then all the visual gags that they throw in there along the way. I mean, yeah, no matter what age you are or what time you are, you can instantly recognize the humor of Elmer Fudd becoming a duck and trying to seduce Daffy as he swims underneath and
He
sees
does
like,
that
oh,
like
those are some
every
shoes there.
but like every episode he's in, he does that. Like every time he's like hunting someone, he's always like either someone's seducing him or he's seducing someone. Like,
Yeah.
funny enough, while watching that episode, the episode that always I can remember vividly off the top of my head, it's a Bugs and Elmer Fudd episode. It's that one where Bugs dresses up. He looks like kind of like a Viking girl. Do you remember that? And it's like that big like oh I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if you remember. There was like this big like musical moment with it, like where they're playing music and Bugs like this like Valkyrie style girl. Oh, if I can find it,
hmm
I'll bring it up again. But oh god. That
I
was so
looked
good.
up the picture of it now and I see it.
Oh, you looked it up? Yeah, so
Yeah.
you see? That episode was so good. There was almost like no talking that episode too, because it was like a music thing the whole way through, if I remember
That
right.
yeah. What's opera doc?
Opera. Opera, yes.
That's funny.
Yes! I gotta rewatch that one now. Only if only there was a duck in that one. Could have watched it.
True.
So good.
But yeah, that is it's just good. Again, it is
There's
timeless
nothing wrong with
stuff.
any Looney Tunes episode. It's just some of them are more entertaining than others. Like that's how I feel with Tom and Jerry too. It's just some are more entertaining than others. But like you can't go wrong with like a Looney Tunes episode. It's great.
Yeah. You know what you're getting, you get it, and then it's just yeah, hopefully the hijinks are amazing this time around, or other times it's more,
Hmm.
stuff you've seen before, but either way, yeah, it's just quality entertainment. That's sort of, yeah, like what I threw in there is just quick, again, 8 minutes, giving you this one sort of concept, and then heightening it up and up
Sometimes
and
it,
up until
yeah.
finally he's able to turn the
Turn the
Fox and
tables
Elmer on each other.
like
Yeah.
right away.
A great little
Yeah.
gag at the end too when he puts the Fox season open. Like he
Yeah, that
was the
was
one
so
that
funny.
was doing that. Um, a lot of people hiding themselves or just like disguising themselves in these old cartoons as well.
Yeah, a lot of costume gags.
Yeah,
They,
very true.
especially with Daffy and Bugs. They always are wearing something.
hmm
It's cool how some of those like old kind of style cartoons though, especially Tom and Jerry, obviously, but same with Wiley and stuff. There's like no dialogue in those. But they're still just like like you said, they're timeless. Like you don't have to say anything, you can just watch and you don't have to like listen. It's amazing. I love it. Bring it
Very
back.
true. Agreed. All right. So that closes the chapter on Looney Tunes, and now we go to the next.
Do we have to?
We do. All
Do
right.
we
It had
have? Oh my
Duck in the
God.
title. It was only 12 minutes.
Should have watched Lunatics.
It was, well, we couldn't. We would have had to pay for it.
True.
Bat Wheels is the next show that we watched. Season 1, episode 2, Stop That Ducky. So, Sean, your thoughts, you're hanging your head.
It was just it was so I mean, I'm not a 3-year-old kid. Of course, I'm not gonna like that. That was so dumb for 12 minutes of my life. We're just lucky there was no ads with it. If there were ads, Ryan, I would not have made it all the way through.
Yeah, I can feel
It's
that.
not bad. It's just not for me. Like
Didn't you
it's.
learn so much about how to be a leader?
I learned that Batman had 5 different vehicles. That's what
I
I
know that's a
learned.
little
And the
that's
Penguin has
excessive. I
a
mean,
and
everyone
the
was a little Batmobile, but then he had all these different ones, which the names as well. That's what did not make sense to me. What were the names for them?
was it one of them? Well, one of them was
Redbird was like the only one that
no,
made
Bam makes
sense.
sense. It's like a take on the old comic on like cartoons. Remember, it's like when it's like
Okay,
Bam,
Bam. But what
pow,
about
like
Buff and BB?
bro, he's just big. Leave him alone. What? What's
Yeah,
wrong with
but
naming
then why
someone
were
buff?
three of them the alliterations, but then the other ones were not?
I don't remember any of their names besides Bam. What was the red? You said Redbird?
Yeah, there's a Redbird
Oh, that's
wing,
Robin. Yeah, I
right?
guess.
So yeah, I don't know. But this one
Listen,
again,
listen, man.
the audience is definitely, although again, Looney Tunes can be for everyone and little kids
Looney
can watch
Tunes is
that.
timeless. We'll forget about Bat Wheels in 2 days.
Very true. But that was intending to also be educational. That was the thing that stuck out to me was Looney Tunes in no way were you meant to like learn anything or get a little bit smarter
Hey,
from it. You're meant to
now
be
we know.
entertained. Bat Wheels, they were trying to be like, oh, let's impart a lesson onto the little kids that are watching this. So they included that
True.
element of like, oh, here's how to be a leader, how's someone needs to step up, lead the team, make sure that we have teamwork. And so that was what they did. Sean, you're laughing.
I just read your next point. The Batwheel song, does it go hard?
Yes, so we
No,
need
I
to
don't
go over
remember
this.
it.
Did you listen to that? Well, you didn't
Well,
listen
of
to it.
course I did, but I didn't remember it. I don't remember anything about it. The opening
I'm
number.
gonna share some lyrics with you right now. I have it pulled
Okay,
up on
okay,
Genius
okay.
Lyrics. It's not on Genius, but it'd be funny if
Run
it
it
were.
by me.
Um, okay. Yeah, Batman and Robin are a dynamic pair, but even heroes need a ride to get them there. They're the Batwheels, four-wheeled fighters of crime, which is funny because
Only like,
at least two of them don't have four wheels.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
One of them is in the air.
Bat wheels, watch them turn on a dime. Bat wheels, they look great in black. Bat wheels, they've
None of
got
them are in
Batman's
black.
back.
None of
I
them are
think
in
Bam
black.
is black.
No, he's like a dark blue car.
Well, they do still have Batman's back, though. What do you think about that?
Technically, they have all of Batman ingredients
Burning
in the
bat
car.
rubber is their favorite thing.
That
If
sounds.
turbocharged action's what you really crave, they're fired up and ready down in the Bat Cave.
I won't
Bars.
lie. I don't. I don't like that line. Burning bat rubber. I don't like that. That's
Burning
just
bat rubber. Yeah, it's so
that sounds
they just
weird.
shoehorned a bat into anything in there.
I mean,
Um,
it's like the old show where like Batman would have bat shark repellent. I mean, you could spit
True,
bat
yeah.
anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
That was the one part that I did like. Whenever they said the bat wheels, it sounded like the end of the
Hmm.
60s Batman theme. Da-na-na-na-na, Batman. Like they did that same exact sort of cadence with bat wheels. So that was
Yeah,
one part I liked about it. The other thing that I had, my next point was we don't see Batman and Robin in the episode.
they're in the
Like
opening.
they're in
Hold
the
on.
opening, but they're not in this.
That's what
And this
matters
is
though.
episode two. So my headcanon is that in episode one, Batman and Robin suffer horrific deaths, and
Oh
then
my God.
the Batwheel team is left to defend Gotham against all the other
I the my only
the
question
villains and villainous vehicles as well.
my only question about this show is who is that computer lady? Where's her
That too. I was
backstory?
like, what?
What's her name? What's her backstory? Is that like
Don't
supposed to
know
be
her name.
The
She's
Oracle or
not,
something?
she's not referenced in the theme song, so can't
She's
fact
not.
check the name. And so not sure what it is.
Here, I got this. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. She also was funny. Like she just picked who was supposed to be leader,
Yeah,
which I was like, that's a
there's
little
no
weird to do.
reasoning.
Yeah, she's just like, I think it should be you, Bam. You're the leader I've chosen. It's like, okay, but shouldn't we have seen like something else to show that everyone else wanted like him to be the
Huh.
leader?
Yeah. No way.
What?
We should have picked a different episode. Batman, the voice of Batman is Ethan Hawke. We should have picked a different episode. Yeah.
No way.
No way. Also, it's just called the Bat Computer. Nothing special. But yeah, Ethan Hawke voices Batman. I gotta watch the whole show now.
That's awesome. Ethan Hawke just pops up and everything. But again, like why?
Amazing.
What is the need? Like if Batman and Robin are able to still do their things, why do they just have their sentient vehicles just
I
running
feel like,
around
you know what I
doing
think?
their thing?
I think it's a separate thing. I feel like while they're fighting like the Penguin, the vehicles fight Ducky, the Penguin's vehicle. It's like they're
Hmm.
this is gonna sound so stupid, but it's like Batman and all of the Batman characters have Pokemon, but they're just vehicles. So like when they're not needed, they just like fight each other's Pokemon, if that makes sense. Because then we didn't see Penguin either, but that was Penguin's Ducky, you know?
Right.
Like Penguin wasn't in the Ducky thing. And I don't like that they talk. Like, do you think they talk to Batman? You
That's what
can
I'm saying too. Like when they're just driving around, going for a spin. Yeah, are they just chatting it up? Like,
you think
are
Batman
they
has a
all now
favorite?
Batman's sidekicks? Like that doesn't make sense. Again, why are there
Batman and
five of the
his
vehicles?
sidekicks.
If it were like the Bat family too, it makes sense that there's all these different vehicles. But if it's just Batman and Robin,
You know what's weird? It would make
why?
more sense as well if there was like five of the Bat family like there for like their each vehicle, but instead there's five vehicles and only three characters. And obviously, Redbird, the red card is for Robin, and then the bike is for Batgirl. And then there's the other three. They have to fight for who's Batman's favorite at that point.
Right, for sure.
There's
So
too many plot holes in this kid show. Too many.
yeah, the concept of the Batmobile just being its own entity, yeah, don't like it.
Also, funny thing I wanted to point out, it has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. How can you rate this show as an adult? I'm sorry. Like most kid shows, how can you sit there and be like, hmm, yeah, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I just didn't like it. Well, of course you didn't. It's not for you.
Not enough Ethan Hawke apparently for
I
them.
mean, maybe. That'd be a good review.
They
What?
should have though, like give Ethan Hawke his own animated Bat
Oh, well, he
series.
might.
That
Maybe
would
it's
be
just the one
cool.
episode.
But yeah. What'd you think of the Ducky being British?
Perfect. I
I
always
kind of
think
like it
Penguins. I always
because
find
it
Penguin to be British.
it goes to yeah his origins.
I mean, his
Old
real name is
Cobblepot.
Cobblepot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. See, they're weaving in the lore,
I am slightly
that
curious on
good Batman lore.
True. I'm slightly curious on what the first episode is about, though. If this episode's about working together in leadership.
Yeah, was that again like did
How is
they
that episode
suddenly
two?
come to life or did Batman like implant sentient computers? Like what was the first episode? Was it
The
them all
first
just springing to
episode is
life?
an actual episode of just Batman. And at the end is when we get the actual vehicles, and that's what leads into the next episode.
Hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm sure
curious,
like
like what was it? Because you're right.
Ryan.
Yeah, we started in with what felt like it could have been the very first episode, but there had to be an origin to them. Oh my God.
Hmm.
Bam's parent vehicle gets shot in an alleyway. They
Both of
all
them,
have they all have the same
the
origin
same
as Batman.
backstory.
It's just their, yeah, whatever
I
factory
don't
worker
like the
put them together
idea.
gets killed.
I don't like the idea of three planes being on a runway and then like the two parent planes get shot and then there's just the Batwing. And Batman like picks her up.
Could you
As
imagine though?
even the motorcycle, either that like that three motorcycles in an alleyway. Even the monster truck too. That would be so weird.
Dude, it would be hilarious if it was just the first
But that's
episode
the
is
first episode.
only the origin story for all five of them, and it's all the same origin story of their parents getting
It's just a
killed.
different location.
Oh my God.
Batman kills all their parents just so he could have.
Uh,
Hey, that
Now
maybe a
that's a plot
twist.
twist.
Ethan Hawke,
That's the
man.
season one finale. Is it gets revealed that Batman did it. He killed all their.
Is there another season, Ryan?
I have no kill rule against people, but I didn't say anything about vehicles. And then he shoots the he shoots Bam in the head. Throws a batarang right
He
through the
shoots the
windshield.
leader? What?
Yeah.
Now you can't act as a team like from episode 2.
Yeah.
What?
There is a second season though. They got
What?
renewed. Yeah.
Is it going on now or is it new?
Maybe. I think they also might have gotten a season 3 as well. Batwheels season 2.
Well,
Let's take a look.
I mean, when we get to Ragnarok, that shows an
Oh, it's
ending. Yeah,
it's
if we
this
need it.
year. Oh, it's early. Oh, January 12th, 2024. This is hot off the presses.
Don't say that.
Let's read
What?
out the title names. You have Night Bike. So we got Nightwing in here. Night
Oh, so
Bike
Robin
comes
went
in.
solo with Redbird, eh?
I'm guessing, yeah, they never
Goodness.
really say, but I'm assuming we're like Nightwing already happened. Dude, Jason Todd, if they bring in his
What would his vehicle be?
I don't know, but it would
A
also have to be like one that
a,
got destroyed and then gets
a, uni,
reassembled.
a unicycle.
Batlight blowout
Hmm.
for the bat signal's one of a kind light bulb. It goes away. Ducky, he comes back.
We have to
When
watch
Ducky
it.
and Quiz steal
We
the
gotta
bat
watch
signal,
it.
yeah.
The words in it. You gotta watch it.
Kitty's sleepover,
We're not watching that.
Mission stuffed animal, and then follow the bouncing Bam. Yeah, I don't know what's
The
happening
car.
here.
It's just bam. The car just starts bouncing. Like that's it.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
So those are four episodes. Oh, I guess five.
There's
There's
six of
nothing else
them.
though, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, there you go. Season two of Bat Wheels ready to be watched if you all want to go see it, or if you have kids that are ready to get their first exposure to Batman through the Bat Wheels.
Yeah, you only have two options. You either have to play specifically the new Batman with Robert Pattinson, or you have to watch Bat Wheels for your kid. It's one or the other. You choose their fate.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So there's our duck related shows.
One really good and one I'll forget soon, hopefully.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Again, it's probably not that bad. It's just like we did. It sucks to have watched it
I mean,
for that
for its
years
audience, yeah,
ago.
I think it works. Again, it introduces people to like the Bat related stuff, Gotham and all that.
I do
Um,
like that because I like Batman, but
yeah, so it works for its intended audience. Show two, we're gonna talk about MASH
what's
from
funny, Ryan?
Ring Banger. What's up?
By the way, I don't know what you watched this in order, but the way you did this, Looney Tunes, Bat Wheels, Mash, and then the last show, that's the exact order I watched it in. Funny enough.
Dang, I did not. I watched almost exactly the same, but I watched Ragnarok before
Before
MASH.
Mash.
Yeah.
I just thought since Ragnarok was the longest, I put that last. I did it by length this time.
I kept MASH. I think this last time too, where I was like, let me put the one that I have the most confidence in being good at the end, so that I can like wash everything out of my mouth if
I
needed.
felt the same
And it
way.
turns out we needed
You're
it,
right.
but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So MASH, we'll talk about MASH. Again, it was a hugely popular show that ran for like 11 years.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't know
yeah.
about that. I don't know anything
Um,
about the show. I just recognize the name
yeah, the
before
name's very
watching the
popular.
episode.
It was a Robert Altman movie a couple years before
Oh,
that, adaptation from a novel. So very fascinating how that worked out because yeah, the movie is definitely well received, and then the show, of course, became one of the biggest shows ever. Again, the
never
like
knew that.
final airing of the finale was the biggest like audience that there was until I don't know, I think some of the Super Bowls have surpassed it, but if we're talking about like fictional shows, I still think it holds the title. So
Is it really? Dang.
yeah.
All right, cool. That's pretty sick.
So I definitely knew of it. I knew vaguely of it being like it coming out during the Vietnam War and it being about a war that America was taking part in East Asia. Obviously, the show, the movie, and the novel all is focused on the Korean War, but it's very obviously meant to be like, okay, we're talking about Vietnam here. So I knew
Yeah.
vaguely of like that concept as well, but that it was supposed to be a comedy, but it would
Hmm.
have elements of commentary in there, and so I definitely saw that in this episode. But other than that, I didn't know what really to expect. I think in this episode, it was from season one, episode 16. So it was in the very first year of the show, 1973. So yeah, oh God, over 50 years now. Um,
Mm.
so Sean, what were your
Oh yeah,
thoughts
it
coming into
is.
this one pretty blind?
Pretty blind. I would say very blind. I didn't know anything about the show besides that when I saw like the title when we were looking for the episodes. I recognized it because it's very standoutish and very popular. Like just the title is. I didn't know anything about like that was a comedy. It was set during the wartime. Anything about that? But I really liked it. I thought it was interesting for what it was. I won't lie. The only thing I didn't like about it is that I was on Hulu and I have ads on Hulu. That brought it down. But I can't blame the show for having ads, so it's okay. But
Right.
man, for a random episode of like not knowing anything about it, pretty good. I liked it a lot actually.
Nice.
Very funny.
So yeah, we also, I mean, we got lucky. We got an episode where Leslie Nielsen happened to be a guest,
Hmm.
like the guest actor on it. So
Yeah,
that's
I saw him
great.
and I was like, what the heck? I
I
was like,
know.
all right, cool.
I was like, dang, he was part of this too, but I'm like, oh no, it's just a guest spot. But what a
Yeah.
lucky break for us to have that because he's fantastic, of course. And then Alan Alda, who is Alan Alda, he is someone
Alden.
that I really like from West Wing, who again
I
you
haven't seen West
need
Wing.
to familiarize yourself with that show. It
I
also
have
help
so
with
many shows I gotta
familiarizing
watch.
yourself with the politics as well. But
All
he's
right,
in
buddy.
that in a later like in the final season basically, but he's fantastic in that. He also his voice is like so distinctive the way he speaks. It just always stands out to me. So I was happy to finally go back and see sort of the thing that made him like one of the most household names he could be. Um,
Who
and
is he
yeah,
in the show?
he was effective. He's the main guy, Hawkeye.
I don't know which
The
one that is. Because
Okay, well, there were the
there's
two
like kind
main
of two main
guys,
guys. Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah, that
saying.
were
Which one
like
is
playing
it?
on him, but the guy
Is it
that
the
had
one
the
that
better
looks like
lines was Alan Alda.
okay, this is gonna sound so dumb, but I hope you know what I mean. Was it the guy that kind of looked like Eric Foreman from that 70s show? Did he like Topher
Yes.
Grace? Okay, cool, perfect. So you know exactly who I mean. He looked like Topher Grace a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe it's the haircut, but
I think that's exactly what it was, I'll be honest. Because nothing else really, maybe the bone structure of his face. I don't know. But I got that vibe the whole time. Yeah, he was really good. He was my favorite character actually, besides Leslie Nielsen, funny enough.
mhm.
So I did think he had the better lines. He also was in more scenes, so I guess I should have known
Yeah,
because he would go off kind of by himself sometimes.
for sure. But yeah, he was the main guy that was sort of being like, we should like make sure this guy doesn't go back into the front lines too quickly. He sort of presented the idea. He was the one that also said like, oh, he's a ring banger. That guy's like, oh, what is that? And we got the
That was
definition for
funny.
ring banger,
That
where
was
it's like
funny.
someone that just taps his ring, I guess from
Loudly,
West
like
Point
too
or
loudly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that he can put them in their place, basically. I thought that was a good line of he wants to
I
remind us that
just
he's a quarterback in this war and we're the water boys.
yeah. I also just
So,
kind of thought it was funny how this just represented that one time in the whole episode.
mhm.
Like I don't know why, because I know it's called the ring banger and it's just about like the guy. But I was like, I wish he would bang his ring again, like in more conversations.
Right, for sure.
But it was a cool little thing. No, yeah, we know what a ring banger is. That's pretty cool. Good job, Leslie.
So I did think as well, like the balance of the comedy and then the actual like commentary or trying to
I
engage
thought it
with the more
was
serious
some of the
issues. I
best.
thought it did, yeah, really well with that. Again, they're talking about like, oh, this guy is really reckless with his whole squadron, his army. Um, that they have like the most visits to the hospital that they have set up there. Like he has the most
Hmm.
casualty count basically. And so they're like, yeah, he's a little too gung-ho and we need to reel him in. So now we have a moment to prevent him from going back and causing more injuries or deaths of the soldiers if we just keep him here a little bit longer. Um,
Yeah.
because they were like, oh yeah, we'll get reassigned if he stays in the infirmary too
Hmm.
long. So then they go on their whole plan to just continually make this guy think that he's still sick, make other people think
Which
that
is
he's still
funny.
sick and needs to stay in. So yeah, I thought
It's
that
funny.
that was good.
It's funny how easily convinced everyone is in that show. Like everyone is so easily convinced, which I
Hmm.
get is it's most likely a running gag, but I thought it was so funny, especially with the loudspeaker outside of his tent. That's one of the best parts. It's just the amount of times they go
That was
back
a
to
great gag.
which one was his.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I thought that was probably the best bit. And then the other one was
Is that or
even
the
though,
high heels?
yeah, even though it's outdated a bit, I can see you being like, oh, would this fly necessarily in today's thing? I think it still works. So I think it's fundamentally the premise is just someone having a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Um, and so they like imply to Leslie Nielsen's character that one of the other officers has the hots for him, and then they arrange it so that high heels show up in his thing.
And
A
then they
bunch of
bring
women's clothes
by
get brought in as well.
yeah.
Yeah. And
The maid
so,
outfit was so funny.
yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, this is mine." No, I mean it's for I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. So
I don't know why. It
I
made me
thought it was
laugh,
effective. And then I
but
mean Leslie Nielsen's also great
yeah.
like playing that part of just being so like off put by it. So
Those
yeah.
little comedies are so good. I also like the ending part, you know, when the woman like the main what's her title again?
I couldn't tell you.
Sergeant or something, I don't know. But when the woman comes in and she's like seducing him, I don't know why. It was just so funny randomly seeing that hand put the milk up and then he grabs the milk and says, I just want to sit here and drink my milk in peace. I'm
I
like,
know that's great.
what? Bro's not asking why there's milk there?
He's like, I just need to use it to get out of here. That was good. That bit too, which I wish, and I wonder if part of it is just a lack of familiarity with all the like side characters.
Mhm.
Because truly, again, I
There's a
couldn't keep
lot.
track of all of them
They
and like what
overwhelmed at
the
first.
relationships were.
Yeah.
But I thought the moment where like it all basically hits its peak, and everyone's sort of like finding out about these things all at once, and they're all in that one little room together, and she thinks I don't know, I forget exactly what the thing was, but the whole like seduction thing. And so she is thinking that her partner's upset that she was seducing Leslie Nielsen,
And then she does.
and then he thinks that uh that guy is upset because he was jealous because he wanted to be seducing him rather than her seducing him. So that was a fun little bit there. Like, oh, he's just jealous, like jealous of me trying to seduce you. And then
Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen's reply is like, oh, well, he should get over it. I'm not like available or something like that. Of him thinking that, yeah, he was the one that was trying to seduce Leslie Nielsen. So I liked that whole bit of like, oh, when um the misunderstandings all sort of bubble up together and crescendo, but it didn't entirely hit the way that I hoped it was. Hoped it would, partially because I think I just couldn't keep track of who all the characters were and
For
what they
sure.
were meant to be
I
like
still don't
before this
know.
episode.
I still don't
So
know the two guys at the end. I don't know which one. I know one of them is name is Blake. I don't know if he was the drunk one though, or if he was the I don't remember who was which. Because at the end, I know there's the one that's like the one dating the girl. Who's that? That's the one who he thinks is gay or something. And
mhm.
but then there's the other guy, the drunk, who is the drunk, right? Am I getting that? Am I getting that
I
right?
believe so, yeah.
I think yeah, because I remember there was the drunk guy who I also thought was very funny that all they had to do was get him drunk just to sign him off to go back to America. That was so funny. They didn't have to do any of this psychological stuff. All they had to do is get him drunk and be like, "Yeah, can you sign this?" Like
Hmm.
that was funny. But yeah, those were like the two I mainly got confused with. I was like, I think these are two different people, but I don't know which one's which. But
Right.
I got the main premise of it, especially at the end.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, I guess the final question. Oh, there's one other thing. The laugh track.
I thought it was fine, Ryan.
I
I
did
don't know.
not think worked. I just think like
It didn't
the
even sound like
lines
a.
that they were giving, like the way the comedy was set up, it just didn't feel like it was laugh line
It's also an
type of
older show,
stuff. Like
though.
it was a bit more of like these quippy, witty one-liners that you go like, but you don't like
I thought that
laugh
was
at. And so it
fine.
felt very much forced when people were like laughing at these yeah, line deliveries that I don't know, definitely didn't seem like it was meant for that.
Then guess what,
So
Ryan? Just go watch Bat Wheels if you have a problem with it. So I thought it
dude,
was fine.
imagine if Bat Wheels had
A
laugh
laugh
tracks in there.
track.
That would
I
be
mean,
so
they also have
ridiculous.
a lot of dumb one-liners and quips, so maybe that would be really bad, but they could if they wanted to, I guess.
But yeah, it would have fit more in that animated show about vehicles than it would in this one, I feel like.
I don't think it fits
Even though
either,
it was a
but
comedy, but yeah, it just didn't feel like a type of show that had the laugh tracks. Because some lines too, like they would give a joke and there wouldn't be a laugh track, and then other
that was
times
just
they would. So I don't
that
know
was just the
what the
style
like
though.
it was what?
It was just like the style of like those kind of shows back then though. Didn't everything almost have a laugh track with isn't that when it like started like I don't know the
Yeah, but
history of TV
normally
lore.
yeah. But normally it's they try to do like the live studio audience thing if it's like
Oh,
one
true. Yeah.
principal location. This one, I mean, obviously it was
Just
on
kind
a
of had
set
it, didn't
somewhere,
it?
but it was more like going to various different locations and things like that. I definitely don't think it was filmed in front of a live studio audience. And so
No, definitely
they
not.
also were picking and choosing, like I was saying, like some jokes got a laugh track, others didn't. I feel like overall, though, the show lends itself to being more of a just we'll say the joke and let it speak for itself rather than having the
Yeah.
laugh track like
Well,
undercut it. I feel like it needed to be like bigger. Again, like
yeah.
it had these
Yeah.
one-liners that were more like think a little bit about it rather than uh more comedies that do have the laugh tracks, like big laugh tracks in the 80s and 90s. And those are definitely much more like
That's fair.
performing and trying to get the laugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just
I mean, I'm
didn't fit
not
the vibe for me.
yeah. I'm not for it. I'm just more kind of like it didn't bother me, I guess. 'Cause I never really whenever I hear a laugh track, I don't think about it that much. I just because if I laugh, I laugh. I don't have to think about it. So I was okay with it. I mean, maybe also just be a different episode. Maybe it'll make more sense in another episode. Maybe because there's a lot of episodes for this stuff, a lot of seasons. So could have just been what was written for this show and like what was delivered. You never for this
Gotcha.
episode. You never know. They'll
Yeah.
require you to watch more, Ryan.
And then the thing I always wondered with MASH was what does it
No
stand
idea.
for? So Sean,
No idea.
take your best guess right now. MASH, based on seeing an episode of the show, what could MASH stand for?
Um,
Let's sound it out. We need an M.
Men
Give me an M.
always men,
Men.
and then
Always.
men always start.
Where's he going with this? Okay.
Men
Start.
always start. I don't know an age.
Any
uh,
H.
humping.
Give me an A. Oh man.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I was
What does it
wondering. I was like,
stand
where's this
for?
gonna end up going? Men always start humping. I mean, there's the new
I mean, for
MASH.
that episode, it wouldn't be too
Book
far
that
off.
one. True. Um, it stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Oh my God, I've totally heard that before somewhere.
And
Like I don't know when, who, how, whatever, but I've heard like that before. Oh, oh, I think it makes sense. I guess yeah.
definitely makes sense. Yeah, I knew it had to do something with, I thought it was going to be medical or something, but no, Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
I should have known it
MASH.
was something like that instead of just an actual acronym for something.
Then you
But
got to wonder why they put the asterisks in there. And I don't think there's an answer to that. I don't know what it means.
at least they came out in the '70s, right? It could have just been just something back then, make them different because no other show does it. Pretty
Yeah,
sure, right? Just made it different.
not that I know of. So there we go, MASH. All right, and
Pretty
now on
good.
to our final show, which
Um,
did not come from a word necessarily. The word was title. So then again, we did the reverse engineering of it. Okay, Ragnarok has an episode that is the same as the show title. So we went with that. Ragnarok, season 3, episode 6, the series finale is titled Ragnarok, and we watched that. Sean, your thoughts?
um, I don't know. Like I was very interested in it in the beginning of the episode. And as it kept, first off, I love that it's foreign. Didn't know it was all like in like spoken in Norwegian slash
Hmm.
Norse slash whatever. I'm Norwegian, pretty sure. That's cool. I think the actors were fine with that. Like it was cool.
Yeah, I liked
And
it. I like again
the setting too.
the greatest thing I think about the episode roulette is that, and so far it's like continued to
First
happen. We
one.
get these interesting shows that we never would have come across before. And multiple times now we've had Again, this is like a different thing. It's a foreign language, but I mean, Wreck was also like non-American.
Yeah, the
Those were
Scots. Let's
those
go.
Brits
Oh
and the
no, Irish.
Scots,
My
yes,
bad.
of course. And then, we have some animated shows in there. We had shows from way back in the 40s, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
wide range that we get
Yeah.
here. And so it's nice to get like a
That is the
Netflix,
nicest part, I think. Yeah.
yeah, Netflix show that was like a Netflix original, but where they had Norwegian filmmakers and creators and actors and all that. And it's
It was
like a
great. That part
wholly
was definitely great.
Norwegian show. So that was nice to be exposed to.
I will say, oh, the other really great thing was obviously the setting in Norway. Beautiful. Fantastic. Loved it. Like
Hmm.
I love like the Norwegian countries. I just love in Europe. Like it was beautiful setting. Anyways, when it got to like as let's say like after the first third, I'm like, okay, I feel like I know where this is gonna go. Like there's like maybe it's kind of like some Percy Jackson style thing almost. Not
That's
like where
exactly what I was thinking. I was
yeah,
like,
but
oh, this
it's
is
I don't
so
think he was
cool.
like
It's Percy Jackson.
Zeus, fuck. I didn't think he was like the son of Thor or like related to Thor. I thought it was like the gods would give them or hit or like the main guy Magna. Like that's I'm pretty sure that's his name. It's like Magna. Um, I thought that he would like get power, like of some power, or like it was like some like weird like outside force thing going on with like his town, almost like Stranger Things kind of vibe. Because they had like
Hmm.
that weird shot like right before the title where like that's like where it's like shot from the lake and like it's like showing like the people. I'm like, okay, so something's in that lake. And obviously, I don't mean to be that guy, but like I know a lot about Norse history, weirdly enough. I mean, you know that, like my middle name
Hmm.
gives it away. My dad grew me up to learn a bunch of Norse stuff for no reason besides that it's like our family's history. So
Right.
I was really into it and I was like guessing stuff in my head about it. But then when you get like after like a certain point, you just kind of like what's going on here? Like I didn't even realize like he's gonna go graduate from high school with a verbal test. And that's the whole episode. And then when it gets
Right.
to the graduation and it does all that weird stuff, I was like, what's going on? And then everything clicked, and I was like, that's kind of a letdown. I was kind of
Yeah.
sad.
It,
Like,
it
go ahead.
it was a weird intro to the show, obviously not having context of any of the
Yeah.
previous episodes, because it felt like that first third, it felt on one hand like such a closure to the show, like the mom's whole speech. But on the other
Hmm.
hand, it felt like a series premiere because it was so like ordinary world. Like there were no uh no continuation of a battle or something like this. Like think of any penultimate show, like episode to a show, and some crazy thing happens, right? And then it gives you this big cliffhanger, and then you lead into the series finale, and then you're gonna pick up right where you left off. I don't know what the penultimate episode was for this, like what they were doing, but this started out not as like, oh, the big finale to this
Yeah.
three season show. It felt like we were
It felt
starting
the
off
end.
very slow, very
Hmm.
like easing our way into the world. It felt like we were chilling out, think of the hero's journey, like the ordinary world, like the place where we're at before the character goes on the adventure, not the end point of the adventure where we're supposed to have the big final conflict. So I was like, this is very odd, like an odd way to get
Hmm.
into it. Again, the narration too was like from uh some lady that apparently had died and
Yeah, I
was
think that's his
important to
best
him.
friend. I'm guessing that was
Yeah.
either like so it's weird how a lot of this clicked for me, like how like especially when the episode ended, I feel like I understood everything that was supposed to happen in the show, like the main story beats. But obviously there's three seasons. So like there's obviously like a lot of in between. From what I gathered, the beginning of the show, he moves there with his family, which I'm guessing he has a brother and a mother because his dad is no longer with them based off the episode. And I
Right.
feel like guessing wise, that girl that died was like maybe his first friend that he made moving there. Because he seemed like through all like the flashbacks like a big outcast kind of thing. Or like he like just didn't want to be there, which was true in that speech. She said like how he didn't want to be there. how he was just really moody all the time, like he didn't want to change, and he has some mental issues because that's the whole point of the show. Um, so I feel like maybe that person in season 1, 2, maybe even in season 3, maybe they passed from something. It would make sense with how what's going on with the show because of his mental issues. So that's my
Hmm.
guess, but I don't know. Like
Either
obviously I have
way,
to watch the show.
yeah, it felt it was
Weird.
odd. And then like her having again sort of like omniscient, like able to know that oh something else is coming, and then it had, as you said,
Mhm.
that like one shot right before the title card
Yeah.
where it was from the lake, and they're like oh the giants are
To
coming.
to the
So
Yogmundir, the
yeah, and
giant
so I'm
serpents.
like, what is going on?
I
Like
got
when they
excited. I won't lie. I was like, what is gonna happen in this last
But
episode?
again, it felt like that's like what you do at the
For a
very
beginning
beginning
episode. Yeah.
of a series where it's like, oh, here's our guy, he's chilling out, but little does he know, like something lurks beneath the surface, and he's gonna have to confront his destiny. And
Maybe
it's
he is
like,
Thor.
exactly.
He
So I'm
has the
like,
look.
huh, that like an interesting approach. I've never again seen like a series finale where it feels like a reset or where it could literally be the entry point for the whole series. And then we get into the rest of it. And I will say this, the one part that I thought was actually good was the he's flipping through the comic books and then he's at the graduation thing and then you see like the events playing out, like that one dude who has the arrow and is like
Yeah,
has his eye covered.
that felt
Again, didn't
really
understand
weird
what was
to me.
happening there, but the way that it was building tension of like, oh no, this is like a prophecy coming to life. I thought that was compelling. But then it goes off the rails because what is
Yeah,
happening there? What in the world is going on where that one person gets shot with the arrow, but
but it
then
wasn't
it's
real.
fake, no one reacts to
Yeah,
it, and then other people there, and then he's imagining in this like fantasy world of him fighting people and other people fighting each other, and I'm like,
it's
I have
definitely
no clue
yeah.
what is happening, like why,
Too many cuts as
what is
well.
happening. I mean, yeah, not
That whole graduation scene was like either half or slightly more than half of the whole episode because of how slow it is because he's going to a different character
dude.
each time and going
Also,
back and
because of the
forth.
slow motion, I was like, did Zack
Yeah,
Snyder get
that was
here? What was
annoying.
going
That was
on?
I got so annoyed. Like I didn't even think it looked bad, but I'm like, can we stop
Yeah,
doing this, please? Like, what is going on?
just over and over and over again. But like, what did we didn't see the rest of the show, so I'm sure there's maybe some meaning. But I was also, as I was
I have a
watching it, I was
guess.
like, I feel like if I had watched the full show, I would still feel like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah,
I would not know
maybe.
what is happening because it's just who are like again, we would know who these people are meant to be and what their relationships are, but why is he imagining this playing out? Like, who's supposed to be on
It
whose
has to
side as
be.
well? Like, I couldn't pin that down of like who's
I
supposed to be the
I,
evil guys
I
fighting the
kind
other
of know
people.
a
And I
bit, I
was
think.
like, yeah, but I'm like, well, but that's what I say too. Like his brother,
Yeah, that's definitely his
sibling,
brother.
sister, brother
It's
is
I think it's his
Loki,
brother.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and so, and yeah, that was some sort of arc that happened throughout the series, I'm sure. But I mean, they're meant to be at odds with each other, at least in, the mythology,
They might have been through the whole series, is what I'm
which they
assuming. I'm
might have
not
been,
gonna
but they seemed
lie.
like they were in a fine place at the end, where they didn't, I mean, yeah, they weren't really adversarial at all. So I'm like, why is he imagining? Like, I was trying to put together if like, is this a manifestation of how he feels about these people? But if so, why are those people like killing each other in his imaginings? Like, why is he fantasizing about the beef that people have with each other that aren't
Yeah.
related to him? And then like, what are his true feelings with these people? Because I don't even remember what ended up happening with Loki, with like that character, in the whole
Nothing.
fantasy realm. But I was like, if that's supposed to be like the
Still
main
alive.
enemy,
Yeah.
then like why are you feeling like that? There was that one dude um who had, I don't know, he just had the black hair. I know that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
was
yeah,
earlier in the episode was like in bed with the one lady. Again, don't know who they are or anything, but he apparently, I guess, was the main
some kind of
antagonist.
villain.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, we get the whole shot of him,
Which is crazy because
Magna
I don't even
getting
think
the
he
Thor's hammer and like
but I don't
bludgeoning
think
him in
he
the back of
was
the
an
head.
antagonist. I think it was just in his head he was because he's portraying him as a character. I don't really
Right.
know if there was even an antagonist in this show because half of it was in his head.
But that's the other thing. Like it was all
Over
in
the
his
place.
head. Like
Yeah.
that
The
was
whole time I know I
the
was so upset,
the
dude.
3 seasons they build up to it being like, oh, it
I
was
was
all in his
so
head.
upset.
Because yeah, that I don't know, that seems very dumb. Because again, I was thinking like, okay, the whole Percy Jackson route, like this will be cool to see the mythological world, the world of gods, like crashing down onto the real world and him having to bring balance to it basically and sort things out.
Hmm.
But if it's all just in his head, then
How did this make it 3 seasons? Like, you know what I
that number
mean?
one, and then number two, it's just like, what are we supposed to gain from that? Like, because then I was thinking of like character wise, what do we get from it? He's
What
someone
happens
that,
in this show to go on for 3 seasons for
yeah,
him to just have this all in his head to like build
yeah. Again, he clearly has, I don't know, some sort of like social anxiety or something like that.
some
And so
some
this is like
traumatic
how he copes,
experience?
right? Like doing the
Yeah,
fantasy stuff,
the comics. Yeah.
which can make sense to an extent. But again, this whole like final battle that he's supposed to be doing, it's coinciding with the graduation, so it's supposed to be this big moment of triumph for him. But what exactly was that? Because again, in the fantasy realm, I'm like, who are we fighting and why are we fighting them? That never seemed to have a logic to it. And
No.
then
Yeah.
his girlfriend at the end, or
Which they were
someone who was at one
dating?
point, yeah, they were like giving
Yeah,
some
I was
like,
like,
okay,
what?
so this
That was the
dude,
worst part, by the way, was that ending thing because he says like no words to her.
I know she just
Do
comes up and like, oh my
But did they
God,
get married?
let's
Are
get
they
back
getting did
together.
they get engaged? Because that's what she said,
I know,
right?
yeah. She's like, you don't need a ring or something like that. And I'm like, first, y'all are graduating high
Like,
school? Like, I know,
like what
again,
are
we're
the
reaching people
customs?
as well
Yeah.
where he's got this full freaking beard in high school,
High
apparently, which
school,
some people do.
yeah.
I mean, but
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
But
He
like, what
definitely
are
did
your
not look like a high
customs over
schooler.
there after high school or like at a certain age to wed or like is it like I don't know what's going on. I just didn't like how it still kept going to and from him in the in like his head because that giant I'm not gonna call it the world eating snake whatever it was Jormungandr there because that looked like a giant worm because that didn't even look Norse to me. But
Hmm.
when it like hits him and he goes down on one knee, I'm like, what? He's not even saying anything. And then he gets on both knees and just does like he does this thing where he sticks his hand out, and then she just lays it upon his hand and they hug. I'm like, what? He didn't give you an answer. He just got on his knees. What
Yeah.
is and then everything's fine. At the end, it's just fine. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
That felt weird. It's also like what triggered it as well. Like if it's all in his head, why did randomly through the graduation ceremony he start imagining like an arrow flying through the window and hitting that one dude? Like it like what
Was it?
triggered that?
I
Like
don't know. Well,
I
he did
don't
just
get
read
it.
that, didn't he? Because that was what he supposed like right before the graduation. He was putting that stuff away, and his mom came in and was like, "We need to get rid of all of it, out with the old and in with the new." And so he was just reading that last comic where it was like the Battle of the Gods or whatever. Which, by the way, those comics look like bad. I'm just saying they look bad, but I'm assuming it's just the recency of it, and I'm guessing it just happened right away because now he's with all those characters at one spot. So it just kind of clicked. Or maybe that was his illness. Like maybe it wasn't like a timed or like triggered thing. It would just happen randomly. And that's what the whole show is about. Because that's what I kind of got from it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's also I'm not trying to be the guy, but I was a bit uncomfortable when they involved the paraplegic people, and then they kind of like made like the air like the the whole arrow thing happened. I was like,
Hmm.
why do I not like that? Because I thought that was when something was bad was gonna happen. He was like gonna start fighting the paraplegic people. And I was like, please don't. Like, what is this? And then they just you don't see it again. So I'm like, okay, thank God. I feel so
Right.
much better. Like it
Yeah,
felt like such a build for nothing.
yeah. Again, I don't know. It would have been like had that moment played out and would have been a real thing, or even then, like just keep us in the fantasy world at that point, like cross-cutting between like graduation where everything's
Do a fantasy
normal
fight,
and
yeah.
chill, and there's also not even any actual like dramatic tension between what's going on. Like if the graduation were still about is he gonna pass or not? Maybe he failed that one
Yeah.
exam, we don't know yet, or something to that effect, where it's like, okay, something like that has real world consequences is going on, and then the stuff that we're seeing in the fantasy world of him like fighting the demons. That's again just a manifestation of him fighting whatever issues there are in the real world that are left over. But it's like there wasn't. Like it was just graduation. Everyone's like chill, having a good time, and he's just in his own head, like freaking out about what? Like why was that? Why did it get triggered at that point? Why was he finding certain people? Why was he imagining certain people as
You know,
the
also kind
antagonists or
of,
whatnot at this point?
yeah.
Like it didn't compute. It didn't make sense.
But
And
also,
it is a series finale that we don't get any context,
true.
but I'm like, there
But
could have been more
also,
cohesion to it.
but speaking of that exactly, the weird thing is that there's also no resolution with it. He doesn't like overcome his like ill like I don't mean to make that sound like not like offensive or anything, but like he's
Right.
like
I
he
mean,
doesn't like move on from it, or he doesn't like stop seeing him, or like this, or like not cure, but like you know what I mean? Like there's no resolution of
I
it. It
guess
just like the weird thing happens and then it's just okay, we're all good.
he does throw away like the Thor comics though. So that could be the thing that
Maybe.
they're saying is like, oh, this is him moving on and he's no longer going to be fantasizing about it. But again, I mean, my man was he was like intensely fantasizing it. So is it a thing of like, oh, he was just imagining things, or did he have a real, I don't know, like in mental health thing? Um, which then it would feel weird to just be like, oh, he just got over it because he graduated and then his girlfriend came back and then he threw the comic away. Like, does that mean he's just never gonna have those
But they
issues
weren't
again?
dating. I don't know what's going on. Imagine he has like a kid and it's just happening again. And like his kid is like this like other being and he accidentally starts fake fighting his kid.
For real. Yeah. But then, yeah, that just makes you wonder because there's no way. I mean, there would have had to been actual action in the rest of the series
There
where
has to be
something like it
more.
couldn't have just been him
There has to be
like
more.
sitting in a classroom and then just imagining his teacher and him fighting. And then
That'd
it's
be
like
kind
in
of
real
cool
life,
though. That'd be a lot better than this episode.
I mean, yeah. But then I don't know, it's like what would be the continual build up for all of that? If again in this
I
episode, if it's
just
just him, which again, it didn't seem like there's that much of an issue. It was like a problem he was having unto himself. It wasn't affecting anyone else. Like they weren't in the know about it apparently. And then he just again stops in
Mhm.
the fantasy world. He beats the monster in the real world. She's like, "Oh my God, marry me. We're just high school graduates. This is the perfect time to get
I'm gonna do
married."
that.
And then they he goes back home and he's like throwing away the comics and then he walks away and then there's this big dinner with everyone there. Um, and so it's like, okay. So again, what was the
Mhm.
big like character conflict that he had and how did the whole Norse element play into it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't understand what I get. Blah, blah, blah. We can't assume it obviously a lot because it's the last episode of the whole series, but the fact that I have no idea what the build is to their to feel like there's no resolution to. I really feel like as well because there definitely has to be more like visions or like stuff in his head. I hope they're more like seamless and like I hope there's like a point where you can tell when you can't tell when he's like actually envisioning it. Because that's what really that's another thing that annoyed me about this is like the like I said, the constant cutting back and forth with this weird slow-mo like apocalyptic world it looked like
Yeah.
because everything was just on fire or smoky. I hope it's like his normal day he goes about, he's like seeing these things I guess because there's at least 6 episodes for each season. There's 3 seasons. And they're almost an hour. They're like 45 minutes max or like 50 minutes. No, like to an hour. I mean, it's one of those kind of shows. What happens in this show? What is the general idea of this show? That's the main question because I don't understand what I was watching, and like it clicked. I have an assumption, but there's just I don't understand half the things that really could have happened in the show because of it. Like who's the guy that his mom's now talking to? Where did he come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is
That
what I'm saying.
like stepdad dude. I don't know, it was
Who is
weird.
the brother's boyfriend? How does that play into this? Like they just like so many random characters that you can't get from the last episode.
Very true. And there were a lot too. Like
Yeah,
there
just
kept being more like fantasy images of new people with throwing spears at each other and all this. And I'm like, who are they? Like, who are all these classmates?
The principal or whatever she was stabbing like that other student, like that black student. I'm like, what's
Like, yeah,
going
what is
on?
happening here? What is going on? The guy with the eye patch again? Yeah,
That's just Odin for he was the janitor or something, right? Or
I know,
no,
yeah, yeah,
sorry. He was just he was like some handicapped guy, but because he had an eye patch, I guess he was Odin. And then he
yeah.
fell, and then it cuts to a vision, and then he just gets picked up. He's like, all right, I'm good. I'm like, what? Odin.
Truly no clue what was going on. But I mean, yeah, that was probably the biggest disappointment because I thought, I mean, knowing
This
Ragnarok and seeing the
no,
like
Bat
basic
Wheels was
premise of it,
disappointing.
I'm like, okay, it could be cool. No, you knew going in, you didn't think Batwheels was going to be cool. You knew
Hey,
going in
listen,
what it would be, and it was
what if it
exactly what it
surprised me
was.
and like, I'm gonna show it to my kids. I don't want to show it to my kids. Like, what if it surprised me like, yeah, my kids would like Bat Wheels. No, it didn't. You never know.
What if your kid is flipping through HBO Max or whatever it's going to be called at that point, Paramount Plus, HBO Plus, Apple TV Plus, Disney
Yeah, probably it's
Plus,
probably all just gonna be either Netflix or Apple at that point.
the
Maybe
one big
Disney.
streaming service, yeah. Um,
We
and then
both
they
have
see
our Apple Vision Pros
Batwheels,
on.
and then they go like, "Dad, I want to see Batwheels." What are you gonna say to him? You're gonna be like, "No, you're not gonna play
No,
Batwheels. We're
no,
gonna watch Lunatics."
yes, yes, actually I would do that. I'm gonna play episode 2 and that's it.
So
Just to
yeah.
recap what happened years
But then
ago.
when they're like, "This is awesome. I want to see what happened with."
Then I'm putting on Lunatics.
That is funny. Yeah, yeah.
Then I'm
Here's what
paying,
Batman and all of them really look like.
and it's just a bunch of animals and super.
So that wraps things up. That's all the time we have. If you would like to give your thoughts on the show, you can
Do we want
email
to
us
do we want to
at
rank
the
them?
I mean, I think we know where your loyalties lie, and they're not with Bat Wheels. So is it even worth it?
I mean, my biased pick is obviously Looney Tunes is the best. It's Looney Tunes, but because of that episode, I actually would give it to Mash as my favorite, just because it was.
Really?
Hey, it was new
Interesting.
and I enjoyed it.
Actually, yeah, let's do the ranking because I think last time it was an interesting ranking too. I think it's clearly Looney
Bad Wheels is
Tunes.
definitely the bottom, and then it's Ragnarok right above it. Bad Wheels is a solid 3 out of 10, but because I'm an adult. Or
Right.
sorry, 2 out of 5. We do out of 5 here.
Dang, you bumped it down. So I go Looney Tunes, MASH, Bat Wheels, Ragnarok.
Really? How,
Yes.
but you said you didn't even get through the rest of Bat Wheels, and you put
I
Ragnarok
did. I
that low.
did. I did
You
watch it.
checked out halfway
They
through. What do
uh
you mean? The
they
scripts are
dropped the
lies.
storage containers and they boxed Ducky in. I said I checked out halfway through, as in like the beginning, I was watching it, and then I was like on my phone for like the middle 3 minutes. But then the final few minutes, I watched the ending. So I watched it. But again, I mean, for what
You
it is, for a
really
kids
didn't like
show,
Ragnarok.
I think it's effective and it teaches a lesson. Ragnarok, you learn jack squat about Norse mythology.
Hey, you learned some new language. You learned a new words, a new language.
I truly did not. And then
You didn't listen.
no, I mean, I was trying to piece things together, being like, what is going on in this show?
Sorry.
And then yeah, a lot of things just felt like they weren't clicking. Again, it's a
That's
series
honestly fair.
finale,
It really
but
wasn't that good.
I
Like I don't even
don't,
want to count Bat Wheels. So
yeah, as like a finale, like that should be a thing that stands head and shoulders above like all the other episodes that you're offering up.
yeah.
And this one, again, it feels like it was not doing that. Like it felt disconnected, but then also it didn't have anything unto itself that could be appealing other than again the whole Ragnarok premise. But then it wasn't even real and it was in slow-mo and it was like so it didn't even really deliver on the whole Ragnarok thing. So that was a no from me, dog.
That's fair. I honestly am not that mad
So
about
your
it.
ranking is what? Can we get a finalized
Mash,
list?
Looney Tunes, Ragnarok, Bat Wheels. That's Ragnarok is
MASH, Looney
technically
Tunes, Ragnarok Battle. Interesting.
so reasoning is Mash was a good surprise. Like I enjoyed it. Like if I watched an episode of Mash, I would probably enjoy it. Like I like that kind of older style comedy too. Like it was a good surprise. Looney
Yeah.
Tunes is number 1 in general, but that episode specifically was good. But like I said, I'm a Bugs Bunny kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't hate the episode. I actually love that episode, but I'm going to give it to Mash slightly because it's just new and it was a good surprise. And then Looney Tunes. And then technically Ragnarok's bottom, so I don't even count Bat Wheels. Like we just did it because it's short. Like and obviously I won't like it. But Ragnarok, I'm gonna give it that season chance. I will stick to it. I'll honestly try and get it done maybe
I'm
even
very
this week.
curious. I want to hear what your thoughts are, and then we can briefly mention it on the next episode roulette.
Episode one.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there we go. Yet another time where I think we diverged a lot on what our list was. Um, all right. So that is all the time we have. If you would like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
Yes, Sean. Nailed it. And then if you would like to give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to, be sure to tune in next week and have a great rest of your day.